And welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Midweek Autumn Series by SZR, the Zwift Racers. They have been doing this midweek Wednesday race going on, I want to say might be incorrect. I don't want to speak incorrectly, but going on, I believe, 3 to 4 years at this point. One of the oldest standing races that's been organized by the Swedish Zwift Racers. SZR, long standing, has been one of the most popular for a long time. I'm really glad to have it back on the schedule. I'm Nathan Guerra Dave Towle. Next to me, we're Zwift Community Live here covering the race today. We'll be covering women's race as well as the men's race in the A category. It does look like it's a mass start, though, so it does give some opportunity for some of the other categories to jump in and try and compete in and amongst some categories that might be above their level, which is always cool to see and always good to see, I think, the opportunity to see where you stack up against some of the other riders that might be a little bit above your thought ability level. Push those limits, Dave.
A little above your pay grade, maybe, right? But the one thing you see is a lot of FTPs being set out there. That's for sure. Nothing will push you harder than trying to hang with Vicky Nealon and company. And Nathan, as you mentioned, Sweden has been one of the OG countries in the world of Zwift, and it's really an honor to be a part of this race. So today, 41K. It's 3 laps. We always on Zwift give you a little bit of a bonus, right? So you work your way into that first lap. So at one point you actually would see 3 to go. And there'll be a lot of sorting out going on. As Nathan said, we got a lot of women all starting together, sort of a hodgepodge of categories. But look, big names are back with the men as well, Nathan. Vigo Moore, Leandro Messineo, Scott Gleason, and the list goes on and on. Matteo Sigala is here as well, the Irish riders. There's high nose, Vicky Nealon, having a tough start here.
Yeah, Vicky Nealon, one of the top riders. Good to see her coming back into the screen here for us. Going to show off some skills most likely today. She's definitely going to be the favorite, I think, amongst this group, but there may be a couple of newer names, getting some new blood in the mix with the top esports women here. Fran Banburst, obviously, in there. She's been around in the last couple of years here. Vicky been around for a long time standing here. But we also have this full SZ squad here at this point, though, with looks like Svadstrom and a couple of others from the B category hanging out here. So it'll be interesting to see if SZ, with the white and blue, as you can see here, they're going to be able to maybe challenge Banboost as well as Nealon today. That's definitely going to be the 2 strong women, though, we're going to be watching out for, but Team SC might be able to work over with the numbers that they have. Being on Greater London Flat, I have a feeling it's going to be a very tactical race. You might have a lot of what we call hand-holding or, Gruppo Compacto with very specific timings on attacks amongst this A, B, and some C category riders able to make this front group.
Good for them. That's what you call punching above your weight out here. So, yeah, when you look at this now, again, there's going to be this natural selection that happens. Then we'll start to settle into a rhythm out here. We're already 5K in. So I think, Nathan, that's really the story for the first 10K here. Can any C-level rider make it to that 10K point hanging in there with, these are some strong riders that we're talking about. Another storyline to watch here is what happens when you have a strong team, talking about the Swedes in this case, the 2 Annas and Louise. They are in a position of power. And it's almost like a power play in hockey, right? You don't always get a goal, do you? I mean, teams can really lock it down, and a strong individual rider, I'll use Vicky Nealon as the Heino rider, who is one of the top 10 riders on this platform, I would say, Nathan. So, yeah, team tactics make a big difference, but you've got to figure out how to execute them.
Big shout out here to the rider out of the Netherlands. 188 beats per minute. I saw for a minute there coming from Spruit there, riding in the B category. She's pushed up at the 4.8 watts per kilogram for quite a while there.
There you go.
To jump back on terms. It looks like it was a huge effort, though. 188, almost 190 beats per minute to try and pull that back here. Has done exactly that. Now, Banburst's giving a go here, though. AHDRL here won. I think this is for a sprint point here. Nealon now coming across, it looks like there, 12 watts per kilogram. This may be a breaking point with these numbers. Orange numbers popping, that's for sure. Embring, Svadstrom, and that is going to be the sprint there, taken down by Banburst.
Well,
and interesting to see. I'm going to have to double check here. Maybe didn't do my homework enough. And I have to have a chat with Martin Jorkvik and see if perhaps on the day we do have a competition with the sprint points, and it does look like sprint points will be awarded on top 5 riders on each sprint and KOM banner. Points for taking a sprint such count as follows. It's 1 through 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Points are awarded on a category basis. Points are awarded as follows. It's 30 points to the winner, and then it goes 5 down, each placing to 4th place, and then from there it drops off all the way down to 2. It looks like for the top, I believe, 20 or so.
Good.
So definitely a lot of points. You can read about all of that over on Zwiftpower.com or in the event as well description. But very cool to see how they've put this together as a ranking on points for the teams as well as the individuals in this autumn series.
I love it. Absolutely. It's just going to make things that much spicier, that's for sure. So, Nathan, it looks like Isabel Spruit, the Dutch rider, really motivated here today. I've got her still now, as they weld that back together, still up in this group. So let me make sure that's true, kind of searching around here. Looks to be the case. So, well, Fran really lit a rocket there when you talk about Bam Burst. That, I thought, might split this group here, Nathan, but the resiliency there really shining through as we look at some of the big names here. Jackson, you mentioned Spardstrom earlier. That's definitely a rider to watch. One of the 3 Swedes in this field, Anna Embring and Louise Rundqvist, the other. Barbara Frisch is here. We've gotten to learn Barbara, a very powerful rider out of Argentina. So, all right, taking a look at some of the riders. But Isabel, you are my hero. That's a great job out there today. Nathan, I'm impressed. That's how you do it, right? Show some courage. You know, this sport is not for the weak of heart. You really do expose yourself. I'm sure there have been a few moments here where Isabel has been really, really, white knuckling it, trying to hang on into that group, and she's done it. So good job. Keep it going. We're picking up the men now. Look at the size of this group. There are some real danger men in the mix here, Nathan. We'll start trying to pick out some favorites to watch. Maybe some rider's going to come out of the woodwork on them. It's that time of year out here in the world of Zwift as we're welcoming more riders back to the platform. It's really hotting up. And here we go. Getting into the first K. Getting stuck in, as they say, Nathan.
174 racers signed up, it looks like. Here we're looking at 48th place right now. Aiden Sinclair, that's coming from the Canyon development team that they recently launched. Very cool to see Aiden jumping in here for this SZR Wednesday Autumn Series. Going to be interesting to see how he is able to stack up throughout the series here, especially with the sprint points up for grabs. We did see him grabbing a top 10 in the Mad Mondays with his teammate James Phillips. I think they were 7th and 8th on the day. We do also, it looks like, has Jay Brown there from Tour 2K Callis. Teammate yesterday, Revel, was throwing down the gravel series by WTRL, so they're showing up, it looks like. This SPSD with Sagers, they've been showing up recently. Yesterday, they were also in the race. Does look like we got Scotty Weiss, too. Be on the watch out for Weiss. Always a threat. So this is definitely a stacked field at this point. And there's some new names as well as some old. And Natalia Franco has jumped in with the boys here, it looks like. And we'll see how she can throw down. Cool to see that Natalia is throwing in with the men here to see what she can throw down up against them.
Viva Colombia! She is a major talent, and Nathan, her trajectory is awesome. I mean, she's definitely on her way to representing Colombia at the World Championships and Olympic Games. She's doing it all right, no doubt. So that's nice to see. Thanks, Nicola. Always good information there. So, she's going up against some of the top esports riders here. Vigo Morris and Fuego as he makes his comeback. Leandro Messanillo is having some results, Nathan. Always a rider to watch. Another guy I'd keep my eye on today, a motivated Gustav is a tough man to beat. Gustav Visting is out here today racing with Team UV. So we have a lot of riders to watch. This is as wide open, Nathan. It's when you talk about 174 guys, it's not just the quantity, it's the quality of this field. This is a really tough race to pick a podium for.
Yeah, and it's great to see all the people coming on through for the chat, picking their podiums out. We do see Keith Robertson. We saw Lewis Dinsdale also coming from KRT. They recently been doing some great streaming there over on the KRT channel as well. Great to see Lewis, long time viewer as well as participant. One of our first riders to ever be involved in live rider cams, actually. So good to see him hanging out. WTRL and innovating racing and Zwift community right now. Great job. And GW also saying, giving a shout out to say, come on, Luke. So keep bringing the chat in. We'll keep on bringing your comments in and let us know who you think is going to be the win and or who you think. How do you think things will play out as well? We always love to hear the tactics and some of the chatter coming from the peanut gallery. So Noon Sigma Sport here. C Fraser, as you can see, this is in real life team that's got quite the presence at the continental level over in the UK. I'd be watching out for Fraser. He might be one of the dark horses that have not been on our radar just because not as much participation recently from Noon Sigma Sports, but definitely a team that we've seen out on Zwift. Tom Hargreaves, I think, used to ride for that team. That's a Zwift employee who's taken plenty of sprints, and I think he's one of these riders that's most likely more of a crit race. We might see him in and involved when the power orange numbers really start popping out here.
Yeah, this isn't all that different than a crit, to tell you the truth. We're doing 3 laps out here today, 41 kilometers on the Greater London Flat. Nathan, I just had an interesting question. A friend of mine here in Fort Collins, Colorado, Rob Noble, saying, have we seen a field this big? And that let me wonder, what is the largest legitimate racing field? So I realized that we've had multiple, let's say a Jens Volt Zwift ride might get 3,000 people showing up for the ride. So not throwing those out. But as far as racing goes, largest field you've ever seen, has it gone
400?
over 200?
I want to say 400.
400.
Oh yeah,
right?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've had Tuesdays, Wednesdays or Thursdays afternoon when things are really like popping off, and we're in the prime time. Yep. We're talking right around December, January time, and or there's some sort of big series that's going on with a lot of teams getting organized. We've seen hundreds and hundreds. I think I want to say right around that 350 to 400 was kind of the peak that we've seen, and it's actually with this SZ racing as well as I'd say the KISS racing as well. Back years back, so we've had some really big numbers. This is just getting going, really, at this 174 or so. So. And that's talking 200 plus, maybe more, even in the A category just alone.
Well, and what happens, too, there's a gravity to events like this. Once more riders realize, hey, this is where the hot racing is happening, you'll see these numbers going up quite quickly. So, yeah, it's a really interesting time as we move into what's going to be by far the biggest season of racing, and just a number of riders out there as the new French world being introduced. And actually some exciting, as we're in the early going here, the exciting news about the World Championships in early December. I believe it's the 8th of December. A Zwift UCI Worlds will be happening, and there's a lot of energy around that. But let's turn our attention to the racing, Nathan, as they have hit out with authority here. There's a sprint point now. Nathan had talked earlier about the scoring, and we're going to be taking a look as they'll come up on it very, very quickly. Let's take a look here. These points will all start stacking up throughout this 41 kilometers of racing. And was it going to be Gustav getting it, Nathan?
I think it's Wisting, followed up by another rider there with 63.8 in the name. Interesting to see.
So Gustav Wisting, a Team UV rider we were talking about.
Altqvist as well. So those two riders, it looks like, may have grabbed it. There was one other rider involved there as well. We actually did not hit the record button for the replays here. We'll have to wait and see what it comes through for the preems. And but it does look like I think those were the two riders. They will be updating on Zwiftpower, I believe, for the preems as well. That's where it all comes on through. As soon as it does, we'll let everybody know. But it was a solid kick there from the two Swedish riders, I believe, taking 1 and 2. It did come right to the line, though, with 1 or 2 other riders involved, but that was the situation. You could clip it as well, just so everybody knows. Clips are available, Twitch as well as Facebook. YouTube doesn't have clipping just as of yet, but on the live stream, if you ever want to do so, go ahead and share up your clips of yourself racing if you ever want to. Watching back the replay, always a cool way to share moments as a part of the stream. But Team UV throwing down for the sprints. They've showed up for the preems, it looks like here, Dave.
Yeah, with a few different guys as well. So that, I would say, noted at this point, if you're some of the other teams out there. I see Mads Andersen is in this field, the PO Auto rider. So we've seen a lot of that Danish national champions jersey at the Tour de France. There's incredible movement happening out of Denmark right now as well. So, and Welsh rider Huel Davies, Nathan, he's been racing quite well over the last. Nice to welcome him back into the fold. As you were saying the name Scotty Weiss earlier, it had been a minute for a few of these riders is they've probably been out enjoying some beautiful weather wherever it is around the globe that they live, but having it back here doing esports on Zwift is certainly cool. I appreciate all of the gladiators of Zwift that we have. So again, this is the B rider, Isabel Spruit, who has made this front group. Isabel, again, you get the gold star here without any doubt. Way to punch above your weight. There she is right there in the, what would you call that, scarlet, maroon jersey?
Yeah, maroon. I would say, yeah, maroon jersey. Solid kick to get across. She just was able to get back involved in the race here. Still 165 beats per minute, as you can see, in more of a tempo at this point. What I want to know is Vicky Nealon, 140 beats per minute, sitting in and waiting for the moment to pounce here at this point. Embry at the front here doing some work for Team SZ, but they're going to have their work cut out for them if they think this kind of sitting around is going to do any damage to the likes of Vicky Nealon. I think we're going to have to see some tactics here momentarily. Maybe Nealon will get a little bored here and try to break away. I mean, the level that she brings to this racing, almost unstoppable last season toward the beginning of the season, January, as well as into February and March when they were racing some of the invitational races. Heino was just dominating, as well as dominating the community races. So I think this is the warm-up that we're starting into here with Vicky Nealon. Hopefully she's able to invite a couple of her teammates and this women's field grows a little bit, but definitely the all-star, I would think, amongst this group right now.
Yeah, I have people in my neighborhood on their morning walk whose heart rate is higher than Vicky's right now. I mean, that's one of the real indicators that she's fit. As you mentioned, Nathan, no athlete is going to dominate from January to December. You're going to see there's peaks and valleys, and maybe we're going to see Vicky Nealon here, the Heino rider, going on a run. Again, we'd love to see bigger numbers, always would, and I have a feeling that some good racing out here will help encourage that as we take a look right now. This group pretty settled in here. Again, 41K. So we're just working our way through the first third of this race. There'll be some fireworks coming up. It won't be too long. But I would agree with Lewis, wouldn't you, Nathan? This course suits the powerful sprinter type tonight. I think that's an understatement. Even.
Yeah, for sure. And we do have a couple of the riders here typing and chatting, and Jeb Tobo also laughing about it here. It looks like good to see Jeb coming on in and letting us know that he thinks it's hilarious that people are typing. And it happens all the time, though. People are watching the live stream, and then they interact with us as well in the live situation. Good to see Loca to stay. Good over at Twitch as well. We can bring you in any of your comments over at YouTube as well as Facebook and Twitch. We really appreciate everybody hanging out. And Spruit there, it looks like, has some fans out there in the world of YouTube right now, cheering on Spruit, and the women out of the Netherlands here making this front group here with some of the top racers. So good to see. Now, Team SZ still, the tactics, what are they going to be here? Because Svartstrom as well as Embling, I think they've got the numbers here. They could start making some moves, but it looks like still pretty Grupo Compacto and looking to finish up lap one here. It's going to be maybe more about the sprint points that they're after early on, perhaps, and just waiting for each one of those sections.
Yeah, if you're Team SZ, your best bet is try to trick Vicky Nealon into making a wrong turn, I think, because she's locked and loaded out here. This is the fun moment for a squad of three. We talked about Svartstrom a little bit earlier. So they're the riders in the white and blue kit. Actually perfect. You can see the Swedish flag popping right there on the screen. So Nathan, three strong riders up against one next level rider is always one of the more interesting battles that you see. Heino, Nathan, you're talking about Vicky Nealon. Heino also is a team, what's a good word for that? Legacy squad out here on Zwift. That's fair to say. Vision, some of these teams that came along to start off the first teams on this platform. Wasn't Heino one of them, Nathan? Am I right on that?
Yes. Well, Heino was recently developed. So what happened there is there was these all-stars with Vicky Nealon, with Nealon. We had Whitelaw. We had Cecilia Hansen, and they were dominating on a couple of separate teams. Then they kind of went to one single team, and I believe they were riding for Fusion. I want to. They were. Heino's stuck with me with them for so long at this point that I'm having trouble where they were located at that point. And they kind of came all together though for this super team in Heino though. They all got recruited to Heino as these
Gotcha.
all-stars that were dominating in the women's field. So that's essentially what went down, and they've stuck with that once Hino got their kit and game as well. So which is
sort
really
of
good
like
to see.
stocks for Watts, I would say. It's interesting how these teams come together. As I was saying, sorry to jump on top of you there, Nathan, but most of these riders on Hino are out of the United Kingdom. That seems to be the core for that group. A lot of teams will have multiple nationalities on it. Yeah, that's just one of the metrics that you look at. As here we go, it looks like. There you go. Thanks. Thank you for that
Towle is helping me out there because Danish Bike Riders DBR is who they were riding for. Thanks a lot. And about Fusion and DBR, both with similar roots, though. So I really appreciate that, though, Jep Towle letting us know. It does look like with a little bit of attack there coming from Vicky, though, coming out of the underground there. On the one section each and every lap, we will have a little bit of an uphill grind, and that is through that underground. Vicky Nealon put the pressure on 5.5, and she's just sticking it at FTP, I think, at about a 4.8 to 5.5 watts per kilogram. She's forcing the ladies here to hold the wheel. Now we can see the elastic stretching here just a little bit. It's dropped a couple of ladies, but our Claire here, she's leading things out with Pets as well as Laycock. They may be able to do this, but they got to do it now because we're about to open up another sprint point, and those speeds will make things maybe a little bit too high on the right-hand turn in just a moment here.
Yeah, take a look at that gap. This is one of the moments in a bike race where you really, your heart goes out to the riders trying to close it down because it is much, much harder than it looks. You think to yourself, that's only, 15 meters? Well, these are the toughest 15 meters in the sport to close, and especially as Nathan notes, once they start to elevate, I think they're going to get there, though, Nathan. This is a super job of recovering there. A little bit of a split, but as Vicky backed off just a little bit, she took her foot off the accelerator for a moment. They're back in the field here, Nathan. So, well, we're very close. I guess you don't want to make that call until the deal is done. So let's just push through the final couple meters here. It's a race within the race happening right now. My heart always, though, not only goes out to them, but I'm awfully proud of them for not throwing in the towel. Just about everybody back. Let's get in there. That draft is so critical. We're going to have the sprint coming up, Nathan. How seriously are they going to take it here?
Looks like Svartström, 7.9 watts per kilogram. These points matter for the series overall, and these early ones can get you a head start in this 8-week series. Milan now kicking 11 watts per kilogram. Trying to take down Fran Bamberst. Bamberst right with the wheel here. Vicky Milan holding, but no, Bamberst's going to come over the top. And it looks like it's going to be AHDRL, followed by Nilan, and then Embring and Svartström. That's your top four for the sprint. It looks like Victoria KLD just able to hold on there for that fifth place. Army Laters with Laycock trying to get back on terms. Claire, this is the moment of truth here. We said those who got back on terms with those final moments were not going to be in a position maybe to hold on through the sprint, and that's exactly what happened. The gap is there. Will they back off or will they take full advantage? I have a feeling they're going to just go steady, but it might be too much even at 3.2 watts per kilogram from Nilan, who can just go into tempo now and see if anybody can come back.
One of the core principles that makes a bike racer a racer, not a bike rider, is the ability to never give up. So it looks though even with all the heart in the world, sometimes you end up fighting in that second group, and it looks like it might be that moment now where Vicky Nealon and that surge. But boy, Bramhurst is absolutely at fuego out here. The Australian Hump Day Ride lady team member here, the German rider, just crushing those sprints. So. But is that going to be enough, the momentum that they take from that second sprint that we've seen from our women's field here? Is that going to be enough that we have what you call a legitimate separation, Nathan? I think so. I think we got.
Yeah, Nealon's not letting us sit in. Nealon, she sees that there's a little bit of, she tastes the blood in the water, and she's like, nope, we're going in for the kill here. They're not coming back. And at this point, it looks like Emily Svartström and Bamberst are going to just hang on as she gets the work done. And it's going to be a race of 5 at this point with 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go.
Yeah, so again, out here, 41 total K today. It's 3 plus a little bit when you talk about laps. So
look what else is going on here, Dave.
Oh, wow. Kristen Kolchinski, KK jumping in with the men. Right on. Good for her. This rider out of Long Island, New York, has been an absolute revelation. So Franco and Kolchinski, 2 of our favorites, Nathan, jumping in with the guys.
Yeah, interesting to see. We'll see how things end up playing out amongst the... And are they going to do it for the whole series, too? That'll be my other question, if they'll get scored
Look at where
amongst
she's
the
sitting,
men to be,
Nathan.
and very smart, very smart. But she's having to push
This
up into
is
4 or 5 to 5 watts per kilogram this entire time. Going to be a difficult day. Boniface making her way forward here. This is the one section of the course they may give it a little bit of a kick. You know, with the sprint coming up though, a lot of things are going to be covered. But it does look like Dane Whitestein here is giving it a go here. Walker, Stellers, and Hyatt. They're the ones pushing the pressure out of this 3% gradient, but they just kind of get pulled along. The draft is so intense here at this point still, even at that with that little bit of an uphill. You've got to really throw down almost 9-10 watts per kilogram to get any distance. So all going to get Grupo Compacto. Maybe a few riders going to start pressing the pace to get good positioning because it's about a K out from that next sprint point.
Boy, this is an interesting conundrum, Nathan, when you look at it, right? So if I'm a coach of Kolchinski or Franco, I am all about encouraging them to jump in with this field. As we've talked about many times, how do you get better? Racing with riders stronger than you. Now, when you're someone like Kolchinski or Franco, it gets harder and harder to find riders that you can race with that are better than you, especially in your gender. So making this jump over to the men's A race is super impressive. It speaks about riders with objectives, and also then it changes the dynamic back in that women's A race, doesn't it? Now, if you're Vicky Nealon, you might look at this and say, I don't know, maybe I want to jump in this race here. So it creates, and this is a good problem to have. You see what I'm saying here? Where ambition is something that you never want to rein in. I don't with an athlete. You want to be smart about it. You want to be tactical and make good decisions. And I 100% think this is a great decision for these ladies that are jumping in here. And they're more than holding their own. I mean, look, both Franco and Kolchinski were sitting right in the sweet spot of the group. This is super impressive. That's the story of the day in my mind, Nathan.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll see how it ends up playing out here for the sprint point situations. Maybe looking for the workout more so than anything else. Also, be interesting to see if perhaps as the women's field grows, if they decide to move over and race in the women's field, or if they like to continue on and this is mainly for the workout, or maybe they want to start competing up against the men because this. I mean, I have a feeling they'll most likely still get registered for the points amongst the race that they raced in. So be interesting to see how that ends up getting called or not. But Hyatt here now. We're into the sprint situation here, though, Dave. And it is going to be Whiston giving it a go first. This is the rider that took it down the first lap, I believe. Team UV 6.3. Segala now giving it a go to the trying to set. Segala's the man to watch out for here right now, I believe, with his positioning. Denkert's going to be given a lead out, though. I did just see 15 watts per kilogram, though. Davies going. It's going to be Lejeune from Team SD. Gardel now going TTU. 13 watts per kilogram coming from him. 15 watts per kilogram from Boniface, though. Aiden Sinclair trying to hold on. Will he be able to do so? Right to the line. 3 up. It looks like, I believe, Boniface just barely able to nip
with
Sinclair at the line, though. We'll have to wait and see, though. I'm going to take a look at the replay here. It'll be interesting.
And that's the second sprint for the guys out here. And let's see what kind of damage this does. And Nathan, the counterattack after the sprint, it might be happening right now. Let's keep an eye on the front of this race. I believe that's an Australian flag that I see here. Let's pay close attention, as you got to keep your eye on the prize the entire time out here. Let's go back and watch the sprint.
Yeah, it does look like Lejeune. He went super early with about 200, even 300 to go. And then it was Gardel toward the front there. TTU trying to get a jump on the rest of the field. But Boniface playing it smart with Sinclair. They knew where to be. They knew where to be. They knew when to jump. Looking at it right here, it's Brett and Sinclair right to the line. It shows Sinclair in the riders nearby at the front, but it looks like Boniface might have just grabbed it coming over the top. Maybe a little bit late, actually, here. As he did get ahead after the line, I think, but I believe Sinclair might have been the first there on the riders nearby. So we'll have to wait and see what the preems say. But that was a solid sprint between all three of them.
Sure was. Aiden Sinclair out of Australia there is obviously going to be a rider to watch in the finale, the Canyon rider. Super strong, motivated, knows the name of the game, no doubt about it. So, all right, we're just coming up on the midpoint of the race here in London for the guys and women, I should say, for the riders. Nathan, the couriers that we have here, but look, it's starting to string out. It is definitely going into another level right now. All right, here we go. We're locked and loaded. This is not a drill. Big time bike racing back here. Esports in full effect, Nathan. And this is Dielman that we're looking at, the Zwiftpower CT rider, taking a big turn. Belgian Express.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to get away here for a moment. And it is a smart place if there isn't such a large group pulling you back in. That is a great place to try and give it a go. Wasn't really able to pull anything off. It did really string things out a little bit, but he needs a couple of riders to counterattack, actually. You need to do something like that with other riders really in mind. When the group is this, when there's this many, you've got to kind of start to, you have to instigate a lot of moves and kind of tire people out over time. It takes quite a few moves to make something happen, string it out a whole lot. And then there's really the rider that you're looking to launch is 2 or 3 attacks in, really.
Nathan, I was just going to use that analogy, the chess analogy, the Machiavellian chess matches, they call the sport. But you don't win a chess match with one move. It's a series of moves being strung together. And so it's the follow through on those attacks. And that's why a team makes such a big difference in this sport. There's no question that, it's not the counterattack that wins the bike race. It's the counter of the counterattack, that kind of thing. So you really get the feeling you got to keep putting yourself in position to be in position to even have a chance to win.
I want to give a shout out here to Michel Dieleman, the Trapo for CT, I want to say is, if I got that, I probably murdered that, but coming out of Belgium here, newer rider, level 14. And it looks like he's got about 8 entries, 8 races, it looks like mainly. That he's jumped into
then,
here.
Huh?
So good to see him. Newer to the world of Zwift, it looks like here, and racing out on Zwift. So welcome, and thanks for jumping into the platform and getting a little bit of TV time off the front. We'll remember that name if it keeps on showing up here as getting a dig in on a lot of these top esports names.
This will be the first time and only time, Nathan, that I'm a higher level Zwifter than someone in the A race making the race happen. But that just speaks to stick-to-itiveness of my willingness to ride every morning for a while. But you know what? If you got it, you got it, right? And bringing over talent from in real life racing, or you don't even have to have raced in real life, but if you're fit and have been working hard, it immediately applies to the racing. So learning the tactics is a big deal. And here's a woman that could teach a master class. No doubt about it. Vicky Nealon here.
Look at this situation. Dave, I said it was done and dusted, like you would say here, but Spruit, Army Ladies like Hancock, as well as our Claire from RCS Racing, they are not giving up the ghost. They have them there within sight, and they're working together. And I think the reality is that the only one, I think all the rest of the ladies are watching Nealon and just saying, if you want to go, go. But we're not working with with somebody who could just demolish us if we give it too much to this situation here. So it's kind of like the rest of the field at this point versus Nealon, I think, in a lot of ways. Bamboost, I think, is very interested in the sprints. She's got a solid sprint, but I'm not sure she can hold the FTP up against Nealon. So I have a feeling that this is going to be up to Vicky to just try and walk away eventually, because these riders were coming back. Now she sees that and puts the hammer down.
I mean, I think it's more than fair. And when you talk about workout, training race, real race, and all of these things, for Vicky Nealon, this is going to be the best workout that she's going to get, is trying to hold off an organized chase here. If I'm the Swedish women, I look to Fran and say, let's kind of motivate here a little bit, because if you're that strong in the sprints, I'd like to see you taking some big pulls out here as well, because we don't want to be towing you along here to try to catch Vicky Nealon. We would love your help. Let's contribute. And I'm not saying that she isn't. I'm just saying that obviously Fran has been one of the strongest riders in our field, sitting back in that chase group right now. Victoria, Svartstrom, Embring, that's the chase. Isabel Spruit, the Dutch rider, been phenomenal out here. So again, if you're just joining us here, 41 total kilometers. Isabel was one of the B category riders that was able to hang in that front group, and she rode that wave, Nathan, all the way through, I'm going to say up to about 20K before the split happened. And now the chase is on, and here we go. Vicky Nealon kicking it into overdrive at this point. The Hino rider is going, gone. Still, though, about 15K to go.
Yeah, there's still a lap and a half to go or so at this point, and it's a long ways. And I think this SC team they may still be a threat, but they're going to have, some. They're going to have to pull
Right.
over their FTP though each time they go to the front. If they don't get organized here, this is over because Nealon can hold a solid 4.5 watts per kilogram on average throughout the rest of this race. I think at this point she's got 11 seconds. She might just go into TT mode, and that is something Heino is known for. They are known for having a good kick, but at the end of the day, they are known for just having a very high. They come from a lot of TT backgrounds. Cecilia Hansen's going to be the stronger one when it comes to being their main sprinter, but Nealon and Whitelaw from that Heino team amongst that all-star Heino women's team, they were more of the TT efforts to be able to lead things out, shut things down, set Hansen up here. And so Nealon, I think she's going to play to her cards here and say, no, I can just walk away from this crowd if they're not willing to push 4, 5, or 5 on the front to work together.
How are when we look at this group here, they started 10 minutes before, separate field. I love that we're doing that. Hopefully that'll encourage more women to jump in and race too, as they are scoring this through all of the different levels, A, B, C, and D. So Vicky here, the class of the field now. This is a solid solo. I guess you'd call it a breakaway. It's more been just crushing out here as she whittled that group down. And we could see then that the chase group there now just trying to organize, and actually they're giving up time at this point. As you mentioned, Vicky Nealon, a tremendous time trials. That's the chase group that we're talking about. Certainly one of the best sprinters that we've got out there. Fran Bramber's there in the purple. You can see Victoria Embring, and the final rider is Spardstrom here in this chase group. Anna Spardstrom, Swedish.
Yeah, Victoria, it looks like Bolshakova. Coming out of, I want to say, is that going to be Russian Federation? Level 48 Zwifters have been riding Zwift a lot. Level 48. That's a ton of experience points. So good to see Victoria hammering away and hanging amongst this top crowd here. She's recently took a win in off the map stage race 1. She's actually punching above her weight a little bit here when it comes to the category. She's been racing C category and taking a couple of wins, but recently it looks like jumping into the B category and getting some solid results. So good to see her throwing down in and amongst the esports crowd here for the KLD team. If we take a look at who the KLD team that she's representing here, that's going to be the Kaliningrad Team Riders. I don't know the translation on that, but that's all Russian. It's all Russian. Well, mainly Russian, it looks like.
I'll use my high school Russian then, Nathan, when appropriate here. Davai, that means go. All right, so.
Okay, thanks.
Spasiba. Yeah, that's your thank you.
Yeah.
All right,
I've been there. Have you seen the Kremlin? I've been there. I actually spent some time in
Moscow.
Oh yes, been there, done that, and pretty amazing country, to be honest. So Victoria
absolutely,
here,
and a lot of amazing bike racers. So my time in cycling goes back to helping with the 1980 Soviet Olympic gold medal winner Sergei Sukharuchenkov when they came over to race at the Coors Classic in the United States. I have a lot of love for Russians, and the Soviet era cyclists were the best in the world. They didn't race at the Tour de France at that time, and it was always that question was what would have happened if you'd had the Soviets against riders like Bernardino. It would have been one of the greatest battles ever. But back to the action here. Vicky Nealon is an alien. She's not even from planet Earth out here. Nathan.
Well, she is taking off from planet Earth with the 4.3 watts per kilogram now, leaving the rest on the ground, it looks like here, to take the scraps. But it does look like Victoria, maybe hear it a little bit from the broadcast here, pushing on. We do see that she's got some fans in chat as well. Pasha Jaragrin saying, go Victoria. Good to see you, and thanks a lot for tuning in. And good to see that the riders always having their fans tuning in and cheering them on out there. That's going to give a couple extra watts to the pedal stroke out here, most likely. Try and grab maybe a podium spot here for Victoria. But it's going to be tough with Bamboost in there having such a solid sprint if she's able to sit in. And she's going to be looking for those points coming up through this third sprint section.
That's the rider in purple that Nathan is talking about here. Clearly just a wicked turn of speed coming from her. All right, so that's the chase group here. Vicky Nealon up the road. The advantage getting close to half a minute right now. Certainly looks good for Vicky as she's down to getting close to seeing 10K to go here. So I don't think Vicky needs any more motivation. She's one of the best riders that we've seen in a long, long time on this platform. Or actually, in the history of esports racing, she would be on that in the hierarchy of the all-time greats. She's putting on another command performance out here, as these ladies, though, will refuse to throw in the towel. There we go. There's the high-nose superstar, Vicky Nealon, racing out of the United Kingdom, and you look behind her, and it's nothing but vapor.
Yeah, and this will be for some points, though, here amongst this group that we're watching here. So we're going to go ahead and stick in here just to see how it does come across. Each one of the riders will score as it is the top 5 across the line. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Embry now opening up just a little bit. 200 meters to go or so. Now it's going to be Bamboos, though. She's got 12 watts per kilogram. Been trying to hold on, though, but Bamboos is now just walking away, most likely. She may be able to split herself from this group, even. It's really going to be a race for third here to the line as Bamboos comes across Radstrom, followed up by Victoria does. Net a couple of extra points over the top of Embry, though, for SZ. So now will there be a counter, though, from any of these riders with that little bit of a kick? With less riders in the pack, there is more opportunity, but you really got to be able to hold your own to try and make that happen.
Yeah, I think that was one bridge too far right now for these ladies. I think they're happy to work as this group before. And to be honest, Nathan, at this point, you start looking ahead and you start looking behind too, because you're wondering they're in pretty good shape there. But so now you realize that a silver, a bronze, a chocolate, and a piece of wood are the medals that remain for these four, right? The gold, I don't know what you get for fifth, right? I know it's gold, silver, bronze, chocolate, and wood. That's what I'm going with right now. They give sixth place a rock, I guess, not a diamond. So, all right, that's Matteo Sigala, the Irish star here. I love the way Matteo races. Absolutely an animator. Thanks for picking him up. How are the ladies doing? How's Kulczynski and Franco? I'm wondering. I'm looking around.
They're still stuck in here. We'll see if we can find them.
I got it.
There's so many riders, though, still in here. We've really got, we're going to have to look around just a little bit. I am hearing from the team manager, that is Nicola Kramer, letting us know. We love to support the women's events, but Natalia needed a hard workout today, and with having a smaller group, it most likely was going to be some Grupo Compacto. I don't know. Vicky Nealon off the front, though, might have been a hard wheel to hold on to.
That falls in line with exactly what I was saying, right? She's not here to win the race today. She's here to become a better bike racer.
100%. Now, Seeger's a little bit of a kick here. 12 watts per kilogram coming from him. This is an early lead out again. Usually does not play out very well, though. Now it's going to be Team UV. They did take the first two top spots here. Will they be able to hold on? Still 200 meters to go to the line. Sigala now, the rider that we were looking at just a moment ago, trying to come over the top. Will be able to do so here, but here comes Wisting. Who's it going to be at the line? It looks like it was Gardel timing it well. He was the lead out man last time. Looks like he did a little bit more homework after that last time through. What a kick there from Gardel. And we'll take a look at the replay, but I believe that was a solid walkway.
Yeah, the Swedish rider, David Gardel there, that was absolutely, if you wanted to use a sprint to show what it is like out here, how you do it, how you surf that wave to the line, well, David just showed us exactly how it's done. Nice job there. As we'll see how this settles out then every time after one of these sprints, and we only have one more to look forward to for the men now, Nathan. But let's see if everybody's going to make it through the gate that time. That was another big effort there at the front, but it looks like everybody's going to recover here. We start taking some inventory, looking around, because here's your replay. So Matteo Sigala, Nathan, leads it out.
Yeah, you do see Sigala here, solid 11 watts per kilogram. Where is Gardel? Look at Gardel. It's so important to jump at the line. You see how that jump mattered at the perfect timing, but he really opened that jump out about 5 seconds out or so. At the 100 meters or so is where he really came over the top. And beautifully timed there coming from Gardel. It goes to show you need they really are drag races in a lot of ways when it comes to knowing when to really start ramping it up, and the positioning, how incredibly important it is, because you do carry a lot of that speed from the draft that you're getting from the other riders, and then it's being able to kick from 10 watts per kilogram to 15 to try and you have to go with that 10, 8, 9 watts, 10 watts per kilogram, get the speed, ramping, bam, pop it exactly the right time. And that's exactly what Gardel did. He was able to grab those points.
there's a very finite window with when you hit your top speed and being able to do that. It's only 100 meters that you're able to go that hard, that fast, and having it happen right as you go across the finish line and timing that perfectly. That's what makes a world class sprinter. There's a lot more to it than just throwing down massive amounts of watts. So, okay. And the other thing I note, Nathan, is watch the finishing sprint and those numbers. As Nathan, one of the classic catchphrases, the numbers popping orange. Well, they're going to pop orange at a. They're going to pop purple, I think, because what's going to happen is you'll see even greater efforts made for the finishing sprint for the win. It's amazing how deep the men and women of esports go. So, and we're getting to that point, Nathan. They would have heard a bell. We're down to one lap of racing remaining for the guys. The women a little bit further on. Actually, I'm going to guess that, yeah, it'll be interesting to see when we go back how much further. Vicky Nealon is inside of 10K to go by a long shot, probably inside of 7K to go at this point.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump on over there and see how things are playing out. As the men are going to be calming down pretty well here at this point. So I have a
Yes, looks like
feeling
it's
that
settling down.
really settling down. So Vicky Nealon here, she's got this one last half a lap to go. She's got a minute 9 at this point. So Nealon walking away with this one. Solid efforts here coming from Vicky Nealon. She may even grab the most points on the day too with this effort because it is first across the line. Looking through here though, it's tied right now.
I'm talking
For
about
the sprint
workout
points here. So this is the current sprint point situation. Ram Bambusta, she's holding down at 14. Nealon there at 13. Anna Svartstrom there 7 and 7, timed with their teammate from Team SZ. Victoria Shakova followed up by Malin Bangstun. Bangstun there also from Team SZ. But Vicky will be able to grab some extra points, I think. Well, okay, now in the sprint points competition, I'm not sure if the sprints count there, though, across the final line. So I have to wait. I have to check that out. So it will also count for across the final line. So in this competition, it does look like it will be Vicky Nealon able to get a few extra at the end of the day.
Going back to what Nikki Cranmer was talking about, right? How if you looked at Franco's watts per kilo that she's making, I bet you it's more than 3.6 right now.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's actually a really great question. Let's and a little bit of comparison when it comes to training.
Yeah, I mean, just sort of that discussion. We have time. Like, there's no way they're bringing Vicky back here. She's in a different postal code right now than the Chase group.
Kristen Kolchinsky is at 4.8 watts per kilogram on average right now. On average right now. If we look at Vicky Nealon at this point, Vicky Nealon is at a 3.9 watts per kilogram and rising because she's going to have to hold more than that in order to stay away at this point. But I think it's a great point to hang it amongst the men. You're essentially at just a solid threshold or over effort the entirety of this race right now, jumping in with them.
Right. Yeah. So at the end of the day, they will be just that much better of a bike racer. They'll have dug a little bit deeper. They'll add, fitness is a house with no windows. You cannot look inside an athlete and see how fit they are or how willing they are to dig deep. That's going to be something that only they know how much work they've really done. And I have a feeling that both Franco and Kolchinsky
are Franco's at 4.5. He's at 4.5 as well.
So that's a pretty good difference right there. Worth noting. So anyways, going back to Isabel Spruit, this is my rider of the day, Nathan. If I
well, look at this though too. There may be a 1:33 gap up to Nealon from this group, but it's only a 17-second gap up to that second group for second place. They have not given in at all. It's been an all-out effort to try and come back, and they may be able to do so too because I think a lot of matches have been burned in this second group already.
Well, and that's what I was talking about, Nathan. Let's protect our silver, bronze, chocolate, and wood medal here and keep working as a four-rider group instead of attacking each other and going off on our own because we've got 3 strong women behind us. And that is absolutely what I love about bike racing. So, yeah, there's a bike race going on the front, and that is Vicky Nealon, and she's a legend. No doubt about it. I'm not ever going to discount the importance of winning, but I will talk about the character and how you build character in this sport, Nathan. And by doing what that second chase group is doing, mentioning again, they're sitting 17 seconds back from the first chase that we're looking at right now, the Svartstrom group. So they are in an incredible battle out here. It might not look like it from where people are watching from their home right now, but if you're those women and you're racing, you are absolutely fully engaged here, and that's a beautiful thing.
Looking through the sprints at this point, I just want to give a quick shout out. We do not have the graphics up for the men's right just as of yet. We're looking to get those moving here, but I can give you the information as to how things played out as we look here over at watch and see here from the World Elite.
Stringing out, isn't it?
It is stringing out a little bit. I think they're getting a little bit anxious because we
Yeah,
are
they're
coming.
ramping it up.
This is the last half lap. We've got 41K of racing total, 3 laps. So we're on the final lap, but I think riders are starting to get a little anxious. They don't want to find themselves at the back here with just about 5K to go. Similar to what you're seeing in the Tour de France day in and day out. All the bigger teams start putting their strongmen at the front to make sure the speeds are high, get everybody in the right position, find the right position so you're in the right spot.
Absolutely, Nathan. So here you go. Exactly like in the Tour de France. Positioning is going to be critical. You know that the big danger that a split happens at any moment now as these guys really just bury the accelerator down on the floor. But look at this. Everybody scrambling to get position. You want to be up near the front, but not quite on the front at this point. We're inside of 5K to go. Oh, this one's going to turn into an absolute Donnybrook. Again, we started with 174 riders. It's been a while since we've seen a field this large, and there are a lot of men keeping their head above water. Looks like Nathan has just found Dan Fleeman, one of the most experienced and talented esports riders out here. And Dan Fleeman now has got the bit between his teeth. We're charging to the finish line here, Nathan. You can feel the energy ramping up in this field.
Yeah, look at this Dan Fleeman. He's been it's been a little quiet with him so far. I think he's looking for the race win rather than anything else on the day. A lot of riders have been going. Now this is going to be your overall here for the sprint sections. What'll be interesting to see is if these riders are involved though when it comes down to the line here. Let's go ahead and see if I can grab this real quick. As we do have an update here. Big shout out to WTRL in the background who put all the support in to bring in these sprint points and numbers. But this is the current situation with 10 points going to David Gardell, and then it's going to be Gustav Wisting, Brett Boniface with that 8 points. This is the leaderboard here right now, currently, as it does update there. These are the sections as it came through each and every lap, I believe, if we look through here. Now we're updating it. There it is. Now it's corrected. Sorry about that, everybody. That's your top 8. Currently with this situation. So here's the update. I think Martin might be doing some work in the background. I'm going to wait on this one. 10, 9, 8 I'm seeing with the top 3. It's David, Gustav, and Brett Boniface. I believe it's just updating as we continue to go on here. But Matteo Segala, Aiden Sinclair, Nicholas Altquist, Kevin Lejean, Michael Dielman Vitrapo, Brett Boniface, Gustav Wisting, David Gardell, all of them were involved in these sprints early on. Are they going to be involved in the final? Are we starting to see guys like Dan Fleeman, Larry Parker from Dirt there? You know, some of the Vikings riders are moving forward here. You know, I think we may have some riders who have been waiting for those 30 points that are on the line.
I agree. And for me, Nathan, it's Vigo Moore. That's the guy that I'm looking at here.
Yesterday, what was it? Was it yesterday or was it Monday? Yesterday. And he's been wanting it. And it's been a little while since we've seen him walk away with the sprint. I think he's had his work cut out for him a little bit more recently.
Agreed. Absolutely. Again, Vigo, a 16-year-old junior rider. In real life, he races for Roy Nickman, the Olympic bronze medalist on his Lux team. This kid is liquid dynamite, man. And there's no question that he'll find his way into the top 5 here. He times things well. He keeps his TSS as low as humanly possible. You have to hold a mirror up near his mouth to find out if he's breathing or not during the race. He's that fit right now, Nathan. You're just looking to see if he can make any steam at all. This guy's like unbelievable. So we're going to, as we go into the finish now, start looking for these names. And there's one thing to remember is we're just at about 2.5K to the line. There's going to be, Kolchinsky's still in here, Nathan. I just saw her name pop up. That's an awesome job by both Franco and Kolchinsky today, the 2 women that have more than held their own out here. Super impressive. And now it's business time. Here we go. Get ready to launch. They're inputting the code right now in Houston. And Nathan, I wonder who's it going to be? Who's going to be the first to roll the dice out here?
Well, Aiden Sinclair versus Vigo Moore is definitely a story I think that's going to be happening out there. Brett Boniface is here. I'm not sure if Scotty Weiss has continued on throughout here. We'll have to wait and see. Leandro Messineo has been very quiet. Dan Fleeman, another name to watch out for.
Good
So
call.
many involved at this point. And then I think there's a lot of dark horses. Now we do see Vigo Moore kicking in the orange watts here. Orange numbers are starting to pop here. Segala as well, I think, is one. I mean, there's about 10 names in here that are all going to stay involved. Legvox, 2RR, coming the Frenchman. Also another name to be watching out for. So many that are going to be involved in the sprint. But Vigo Moore, I think that is the call today. I think he's really wanting this. He's going to be chomping at the bit because he has not had a win in a while on some of our top races in the past weeks.
Yeah, the kid is hungry, and he wants to lick his plate clean here in London. Nathan, I got to go, as you said, Leandro Messineo is another rider that I would watch closely here. The nickname is the Poison Frog. This guy out of Argentina is a killer, so let's see what we've got. Nathan, it looks like the first moves are being made.
Yeah, we do have a WZ rider, World Elite Zwifters off the front just a little bit. 10 watts per kilogram coming from WZ. Oh! They're just trying. This is... I don't think this is a winning move unless they let it go. This is setting up to try and get the other riders to respond, waste some watts. And Anderson, look at WAZ. Jay Anderson from WAZ sitting in at 5.3 toward the front 5.6. He's not chasing anything down. He's following wheels at this point because this is just to tempt the field to burn some matches before they even hit the real sprint.
Yeah, this is a decoy. It looks like don't take the, it's a trap. It's a trap is what some of the teams will be thinking here because the biggest danger you have is going too early, Nathan. I would say that these guys are doing an incredible job of being patient here. To be fair, we called it 41K. It does go a little past that. Watch for the finish line here. It's not that far away, but it looks like they're playing their cards correctly back in the peloton. Nathan, no one took the bait.
Yeah, we do see Jay Brown toward the front here, right on the front. Not exactly where we want to be. Lundqvist now is there as well. So lots of riders here trying to make sure. Fleeman goes at 12 watts per kilogram, way out here. Maybe just trusting that there's not going to be any kind of response now. Continuing on, other riders seeing that Fleeman's going. They want to respond immediately to that. This is one of the earliest leadouts I've ever seen. Will he be able to hold on? This is a crazy move from Fleeman because they're going to be coming through at almost 70 kilometers per hour. Now Barfoot's going. WEZ opening it up. His teammate was the one that was trying to egg them all out of the field here. 185, 1,000 watts for Barfoot. Wisting's coming through now. Is Wisting going to be able to hold on, though? It's going to be Fleeman getting just stampeded on as the real riders come on through. Here's Aiden Sinclair. Scotty Weiss to the line. 16 watts per kilogram. Where's Vigo Moore? But no, Savory maybe? No, Weiss holds on. Followed by one of the SZ riders, but Vigo, where was Moore? Sinclair was right there, still for a top 10 as well, but Scotty Weiss jumps out of the field and showing why watts per kilogram are rule on the day a lot of times in Zwift.
Wow. Well, he's back. Scotty Weiss, congratulations. That's a big one. We started with 174, and the American will take out a pulverizing sprint. And that's, I tell you what, that's got to be a sweet one for Scotty Weiss. So here's our replay right now. It was Barfoot, the world elite Zwifter, who led out. That's the catch of Fleeman being made. And then here we go. Podium ready to be filled.
Yeah, you do see Fleeman getting caught. Volier, I thought maybe able to pull something off here. Was just a little bit too early, though, it looks like, as they're coming to the line here. And it does look like Sinclair tried to hold on, almost perfect timing, but Weiss comes up over the top, 16 watts per kilogram for Lear. I believe, let's go ahead and speed it up just a tad as we come to the line, and it does look like at the last second, Savory comes through. Larry Parker, what a move by Parker. Dirt OG, I think, held on there right at the line. Savory taking third, I believe, followed up by Team UV with Hastings and Sinclair fourth, Messineo fifth. You said Messineo, he's been very consistent, maybe not getting wins, but been super consistent the last couple of races.
How about Ariel Savory here? Another Argentinian rider getting up there. Really impressive job as the guy's really cooling down here. A shower included in today's package.
On the women's side of things, Vicky Milan did come across. There was no sprint for the line there. So the reality is, apologies everybody, but When it
They
came to the
finished at the
line,
same time,
they
didn't they?
literally finished at exactly the same time. The men caught up to the women here, but Neelan able to come across. I'm going to see if I can find a little bit of a replay for everybody on the ladies' side of things, as I do believe right to the line here. This is Neelan there finishing out. It does look like Fran Bamberst was trying to maybe break away here, but this was her. This is her crossing line, hands in the air, plenty of time there to take things down. We missed. We will not have a camera shot though. Apologies of the sprint for second place. We will actually be able to see it a little bit there in the background, how things might have played out. But we'll go ahead and bring it in. Well, no, see, that disappeared there for us on the right, even there. So we'll not be able to bring that in. But we'll go ahead and get it over at Zwiftpower.com
We'll see
as
the
we bring in.
result.
Yeah, we'll see it in the results. We'll see it in the results, everybody. But what I absolutely love, what I love about this is experience in race organization and making things exciting, because SZ has put together some amazing sprint preems on these courses that really highlight the strengths for those specific talents, right? Like this is the perfect course to throw down sprint preems over and over and over again, set things up, and then have a gigantic sprint at the end and really reward the riders for that effort.
Yeah, the interval between the sprints is just right. So I agree. Experience shows from racers and from organizers. So yeah, thanks for a great job. And all our
Amazing
racers
job.
out there, really impressive too. Again, noting some exceptional rides. Isabel, the Dutch rider, super impressive. The B rider hanging on in the front group with the women. And then, of course, Franco and Kolczynski today. Also really noteworthy.
100%. Let's go ahead and take a quick look here at how things ended up playing out amongst the women here. It does look like now they are separated, it looks like, by category, interesting enough. So we'll go through the categories, but they did come
All
to
right,
the
so that'll
line
give
together, a lot of them. But go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, so that would give Isabel the win in her category because we'll sort things out with Vicky Nealon taking gold, Fran with a great job sprinting out there, Bamberst ending up in second with the silver, and then you've got the two Annas, Anna Svardstrom for bronze and Anna Embring for chocolate, the fourth place finisher there. The other riders are probably just scoring right now and being added to the results. So noteworthy, right? Victoria was also a B. You caught that, Nathan. I forgot about that. So good job, Victoria, the Russian rider, Victoria Bolshakova, ending up with the gold. Isabel Spruit certainly won a lot of fans over today as well with the silver medal. Angela Leacock with the bronze, and Henriette B, the German, taking fourth.
Solid ride there. It does
That,
look like Malin Bengtson coming through for Team SC, followed up with Nikki Toomer just coming in for the C category. I believe the D category probably not going to be quite finished yet. We can come back if we do get a couple of more coming on through. In the men's race, though, Scotty just barely taking it down there by 2/100th of a second. Ariel Savari there, as you said, big ride coming from Savari. We'll be on the watch out for him coming out of Portugal. And then it's going to be Gustav Wisting. He took down early sprint, actually, but still had a kick to the line. As very close racing between him and Leandro Messineo. Obviously, Aiden Sinclair, all within none of them, I mean, within more than 0.3 of a second. So obviously, this was a very hotly contested sprint at this point. That's Bang Anderson out there for that seventh. Aiden Sinclair, sixth. And then we're seeing Aiden Voulier. Voulier was the lead out man almost in that last 100 meters, ended up fading back to eighth place. Matthias Lundqvist, longtime Zwifter, and Sean Geidish for Team Draft coming on in. That's a great ride, actually, by Geidish from Team Draft out there today. So big shout out to that for that top 10. As Drafted looks like showing up again as of recently. And throw it over to you for the B category there, Dave.
Hey, great. Thanks, Nathan. Canadian taking the win. Sean Harris, way to Canuck up. Taking gold. That's going to be David Engel, the Swedish rider, in second, and then the Danish rider, Kenneth Vivek, in third. EF's taking fourth, the American there. Eric Callan taking fifth. Jonathan Lafleur. Andreas Brandstrom, that's seventh. Tobias Krantz in eighth. Stefan Hiebel in ninth. And then Carl Tassilius, another OG. Good job out there, Carl. Rounding out our top 10 there. 4 Swedish riders getting up in the top 10. And I think, Nathan, you're going to see that the C's are still out racing.
Yeah, it looks like we'll
or
have
at
to
least
leave
results coming.
the results still on their way in. I'm going to take a quick look here again at the sprint competition. Currently, for the top 10, it looks like this is the situation for the sprint points and how they ended up playing out. And it does look like David Gollard, they're 10 points. I think this may be how it ended up
I don't think it's
ending up here.
updated is the
I'm
problem.
not sure it is
Yeah.
updated though. We'll have to wait and see how it ends up playing out. Martin did throw this together for us pretty quickly at the beginning of the broadcast here. So we'll wait until next week. Maybe we'll get things a couple. It is a new feature too that we are bringing in with the preems and the KOMs and everything. And a big shout out to pushing the platform as well as the data there to our man over at WTRL. Now, tomorrow, speaking of WTRL, tomorrow we've got the team time trial. Registration closes tonight at 7 p.m. Is it going to be CST, I believe, or is it UK time? It closes soon. Go sign up. If you have a team time trial or you're looking for a team, you better get signed up now.
Don't lollygag. Go sign up now.
Go sign up now. We'll see you guys tomorrow for that. I was seeing some chatter in the socials about how these are some very long-standing records. I believe we're out on the greatest London flat, if I'm not incorrect there. And it's some very long-standing records that are looking to be broken out there tomorrow. Looking to break the records or watch them being broke between all of the different zones competing against each other. We've got thousands of riders, hundreds of teams, largest event out on Zwift every single week. And team time trial tomorrow, WTRL. It's going to be a lot of fun, Dave. And outside of that, we'll be back after that next week. So we'll see everybody tomorrow for the WTRL TTT. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you want the results from today, head on over to Zwiftpower.com. You can check them out. As well as hit those follow buttons for any times we do go live. I did see some people requesting more schedule. Make sure to just always check out. They are scheduled at the beginning of the week, YouTube and Facebook. So, see you guys tomorrow, TTT. As always, everybody,
Thanks.
ride on.